on this beautiful day 12 of COVID lockdown. We are currently in Easter week. On Sunday, we celebrated Palm Sunday as a Christian church internationally. And Palm Sunday is this, commemorating or reminding ourselves of the last time Jesus went into Jerusalem for Passover. So Jesus se intog na Jerusalem toe. If you remember the story, if you've read Matthew already, if you haven't, Jesus asks his disciples to go ahead and tell them that he is coming to Jerusalem, and it's his earthly inauguration of sorts. So they must go and find a house with a donkey and ask the person who's the owner of the donkey if they can borrow a donkey so that he can ride into town on a lowly steed. Not a horse like the Romans or the important people, but a donkey, which is often also the animal that priests and high priests would use. And it's such an important moment that people hear that this rabbi, this strange rabbi is coming, and that this important person, half of the people don't even realize who Jesus is and what he came to do. But they run to the streets and they take off their shirts and they put it on the streets, and palms which they cut, which is usually done when royalty arrives. But here the people does it for Jesus, acknowledging his worth without even realizing it. So this week we prepare for all the fun stuff and all the memories and all the learning of Easter. In our house we've been doing Easter lockdown preparations as well. So this week will be full of videos. This week the challenge is for you to 1. Read through Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Tell your children the stories. Share it with your housemates. Share the story of how Jesus in your life, furthermore, in your life has been there. Moments that you've realized, but this is important. We need to pay attention and draw that back to God. And then the procedures of Easter week goes ahead as we prepare for Passover / Easter. Prepare your things ahead of time if you can. Hide eggs, have Easter egg hunts. And Google the true meaning of Easter egg hunts. It is in the Passover, in the Haggadah, which the previous video a few days ago shared. And it has worth. And then on Thursday night, we as church, a lot of us stay awake throughout the night. A lot of us don't and just celebrate a Last Supper, but that is the commemoration of the Last Supper, which was Jesus and his disciples celebrating the Passover, preparing for this hustle and bustle and this important day of celebrating God's victory over death and God's providence for those who he cares about. So Thursday night, throughout the night, if you want to stay awake and commemorate Jesus is staying awake and not sleeping, he's being taken prisoner the entire night through. Read through the Gospels, through the story of how Jesus was persecuted, how he's been dragged from place to place. And then on Friday, we commemorate and we reflect on Jesus' death around noon, being hung on a cross when he was not guilty, the final sacrificial lamb, paying for all of us. Saturday, silent Saturday, and Sunday on the morning, the third day, the dawn of the third day, we do celebrate with Jesus being risen from death. Jesus coming out of the grave. Actually, Jesus not even being in his grave. And then we celebrate life and the fact that God gives life eternal. I hope your Easter week goes blessedly, that while we commemorate all the beautiful things about Easter, even in these times, even in lockdown, even when you're alone, that you would remember that God is with you. And that as we celebrated Palm Sunday on Sunday and are preparing for Easter this week, and I'll put on a video of funky, cheap ways how to make Easter eggs and to hide them nonetheless, even though it might not be chocolate, even though it might not be all the luxuries that we're used to. That we can truly celebrate the story of Christ, the story of Christianity, the story of faith, the fulfillment of the prophets of the Old Testament, or the Torah, as our Jewish friends know them. Have a blessed Easter. See you on the top side.